Hi YouTube. I just wanted to jump on here for a little bit this evening and recount something that happened to me that was really fascinating and a little bit terrifying. I'll just get right to it. So, I mentioned in my last video that I'm on the swim team. I had to go to swim practice one morning. Well, we had swim practice tonight after work, and had about a good 2 hours in the water going back and forth and going through, swim drills and all that good stuff. And we did our push-ups and all that later. And we do all of these things with our swimsuits on. So normally I wear a one-piece swimsuit, but today our coach asked us to wear our two pieces because in a couple of the competitions that we have coming up, well, for me rather, he wants me to be kind of a little freer, and he noticed that my swimming is looser when I have my two-piece on. So I was like, okay, I don't know. I'll think about that. Anyway, all the women wore their two pieces. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm fuller figured than a lot of the women on the team. So my proportions are a little bit more voluptuous, we put it like that. Most of the women on the team have, very petite figures and they're like 5'2", 5'3", and little chests, little tight little butts. I don't have that. I have very voluptuous breasts, and my rear is nothing tiny about it at all. My midsection is small, but that's about it, And I'm fit. I lift weights, all those things, but I look different than most of the women on the team when I have my swimsuit on, and I get a lot of attention. Most of it unwanted because I am in a relationship with someone I care about a lot. So something really interesting happened today. We did our workout, and then most of us went to the locker room. I decided to go to the jacuzzi because for me, the jacuzzi is the best part of the workout, just being able to sit in the hot water and let the water kind of work on those tight muscles. So I have a good time and sat there, and then the public came in to the pool at this time. So some people went to the pool to start swimming, and one man in particular came over to the jacuzzi and got into the jacuzzi with me. And I said hello. He said hello, and I could tell he wanted to talk to me, and I was hoping he wouldn't talk to me because I was tired. I had a long day at work, and I just wanted to just sit in my jacuzzi and just relax and just let the water just flow over me. But he spoke to me. He was very respectful in the beginning. He asked me my name and where I was from. But then he proceeded to get a little bit too personal. You know, he wanted to know my age. How old are you? And then he wanted to know if I had children. Do you have any children? Like he had this internal checklist in his mind of these things he wanted to go through before deciding if I were worth talking to any further. And I still don't know if I should have been offended by what I was. I was offended. So instead of giving him my age, I said, why? Why do you want to know my age? What purpose does that serve right now? And he had this very shocked look on his face. He couldn't believe I wouldn't just tell him my age. He said, oh, well, this is what he said. He said, well, I'm 38. And I said, okay, great. Good for you. And he said, I don't have any. And then he said, I don't have any children. I said, oh, that's great. Good for you. And I closed my eyes and sat back and continued to try to enjoy the jacuzzi. So then he interrupted my relaxation with this insistent voice. And he said, oh, so you're not going to tell me your age, and you're not going to tell me if you have children? And I said, nope, sure not. Now, here's an aside. There was a time when I would have said my age. I would have felt obligated to say how old I was. I would have felt obligated to state if I had children or not. I would have felt obligated, like, oh, yeah, if he asked me, I better tell him. I don't anymore. Because I'm like, why? Now, what is the point and the purpose of that? Is there something you're going to do or not do based on what I tell you? And if so, then just do what you were going to do anyway, because I'm here minding my own business. So eventually, he changed the subject, and we started talking, about, I don't know, about careers, what we do for a living, and politics. Of course, Trump came up. We talked about Atlanta, and then, you know, I held my breath because whenever a man approaches me in Atlanta, once they start talking about their time in Atlanta, I can almost count the number of minutes it takes them to say how they feel about Atlanta and how they feel about women in Atlanta. So, sure enough, he said, yeah, you know, I've been in Atlanta for 2 years. He said, I'm from Jamaica. And he said, women in Atlanta, there's no good women here. They're just trash. And I'm looking at him like, hmm. And this is the one who wanted my name, who wanted to know how old I was. I said, oh, they're trash? I said, okay, so you're saying I'm trash. Well, he said, well, I don't know you. You could be or you could not be. I said, yeah, you're right. I could be or I could not be. And I decided right then and there this conversation was over. So I just sat in the jacuzzi, closed my eyes, and kind of turned my back, like, you know, just kind of leaned against the wall to enjoy the hot water. Then he said, oh, so did I hurt your feelings? And as I was thinking, I'm sitting in the jacuzzi thinking, why did this man come and impose himself on me? You know, he actually imposed his negativity and his toxic demeanor into my area of peace. I had a good workout with people that I enjoy working out with, and I was enjoying the hot tub. And I'm thinking, why? Like, what is this? And I knew that even if I weren't in a relationship with someone, I still wouldn't want to associate with him. Because how do you bring that much negativity 5 minutes into meeting someone for the first time that you appear to be interested in? So I just ignored him and kept on, just kept ignoring him and sitting in the jacuzzi. And he said, well, I apologize. Yeah, I apologize. No, that was kind of harsh. I said, okay, thank you. And then I got up out of the jacuzzi because I realized at this point that my relaxation time was ending, and I just had to get up and go. So he, as I stood up, he made the comment. He said, "Damn," and and I just kept walking. I kept walking out the hot tub, and I walked up the steps, and then all of a sudden he jumped up out of the hot tub and he walked up the steps and he said, here, let me help you out. Let me help you out the steps. I said, no, I'm fine. He said, no, I insist. And he grabbed my arm as I was getting out the hot tub. I'm like, come on, dude. So at this point, I look around to see who else is in the pool. So there's a couple of people in the pool swimming. There's one person kind of floating off to the side, and another person is at the edge of the pool, sort of semi listening to a conversation because, as you know, water carries your voice. And he had a very loud, booming voice, and then this pool has amazing acoustics anyway. So, I put on my little flip flops and I walked towards my swim bag and I grabbed my bag and he said, look, I'm really sorry. You're just a beautiful woman and I'm just so sorry. And, give me a hug. I'm practically naked. I have a two-piece bikini on. It's a swimsuit bikini, for athletic swimming, but again, I have a two-piece on and I'm soaking wet. Everything's showing and he has on some shorts and he's wet. I'm like, no. Then he said, oh, are you shy? And I said, no, I'm not shy. It's just not appropriate. I don't know you. I don't want you to touch my body. I don't want to touch your body. I'm soaking wet. I'm practically naked. And that's inappropriate. It's just inappropriate. There's nothing shy about me at all. That's just inappropriate. And then he said, "Ugh, do you know this man actually reached for me? Like before I could even react, he reached for me. And like, I just want to give you a hug. And and he just put these big old, and this is a big old 6'5", like tall ass man. And he reached over and just hugged me. And I'm just like, and I'm not normally that passive. Like if I had felt like my life were in danger, I would have just kicked him in the balls or whatever and punched him in the throat. I know how to get away from people. I was just surprised, like, what? And then he said, just give me a kiss. Now his arm is still like the left arm is down, his right arm is still around me. I'm in shock and I'm trying to get away. And then he says, "Oh, um, can I kiss you? You just have such kissable cheeks. You have these big fat kissable cheeks." And I was like, no, like no, 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 let me go. And he frowned up, got this real dark expression on his face, took his time letting me go, and then just stood there and I guess just stared at my butt as I was walking away towards the ladies' room. I was like, what is this mess? So I thought, like, was that his attempt to hit on me, or was he trying to? What was that? Was that flirting? What was that? Anyway, I had a couple of flashbacks to other incidents that had occurred over my life as early as my time in college. I remember my freshman year of college. I went to a predominantly white liberal arts college, so there weren't many of us there, many black people there. And I remember one night I was studying for the finals, and the library at the time stayed open really late for us to study. And I was in a pretty remote section of the library. I was in the back. Yeah, I was in the back of the library and looking for a book to study for this philosophy exam. And I was really intensely like looking at the book and checking the rest of the books in the stack. And then all of a sudden, my body was pushed against like that, just pushed against the stacks. And my chin hit the stacks, and I felt hands like push me on the back and then take my butt and squeeze. And so I was pushed against the stacks of the bookshelf, and the person's hands were just like had my butt in a vice grip. And then I turned around in shock, and it was this little white boy, the little white Jewish boy. I remember him like during freshman orientation. He was really shy and awkward looking, and you know, I remember him speaking to me a couple of times, and I remember just saying hello back, but he would always stare. Like how he had like this really weird serial killer stare. And so I remember just being like, oh, he's kind of weird. And this dude grabbed my butt. And I didn't know what to do about it. Like it was the shock mode. I was in shock mode. I'm sorry. Something's itching. I think the chlorine's itching my skin. I was in shock mode. And I remember just looking at him, and it was really remote. Like I think there were only about 5 people in the entire library, and it's about a 3-story library. And I know on our floor, we were the only 2 people there on the floor. And it just hit me. This man could do anything he wanted to me because it's remote, and he could do what he wanted to do and run, and there's nothing I could do. And I remember he sat back against the wall, and he just kind of like cringed, like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry." You sorry? Like, how are you sorry? Like, how, like, what possessed you to just feel inclined to push me against the stacks and grab my butt and squeeze as hard as you could? And then all of a sudden, like, you snapped out of it and you're sorry. As if he accidentally fell on my butt. I'm just, oh, this is about. So that happened. And I remember just looking at him. I just had this look on my face of just utter disgust. And that look seemed to make him, slither away. He just grabbed his books and he slithered away. And I just sat there like, huh, that's the salt. That's the salt. Okay. I only saw that boy maybe, I don't know, two more times the rest of the school year. And I think I may have seen him one more time the rest of my time, the 4 years that I was there. I don't know if he disappeared or left or what. He was problematic. Then I remember just recently, walking to my car and one of my neighbors saw me. I had on a nice skirt and a blouse and my heels heading out to work, and the neighbor said, "Ooh, I love you in that skirt." Now, keep in mind, I don't know this man that well. You're a neighbor. I've only seen him a couple of times. We've had like pleasantries, nothing to the point where I would welcome you talking to me that way. And since then and before then, he'd made several comments letting me know that I looked good in my clothes. But it was kind of like, again, the serial killer vibe, that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I don't know what that's about. Like, that's not the way to do it. So I finally just kind of had to think back on, has there ever been a time where a man has expressed interest in me and did it respectfully? A man that I was not interested in or wasn't, for anything other than just saying hello, but respectfully or showed his interest in my body or in my person. And how did I react? And there's one, of course, the man that I'm with right now um, had a very smooth line. I'll talk about that in another video. But this one, there's one man that I met, again, in a jacuzzi at the pool with my swimsuit on. There was a man that I met who, you know, very handsome man. Similar to the Jamaican dude, just very, tall. Um, and I keep saying tall because I'm tall. I'm like 5'10" in my bare feet. And so I am particular to taller men. Not that I'm against anybody who's not tall, but because I am tall and, thicker, I do feel better with taller, thicker men. I don't want it to cause any problems out there. Anyway, this is not another tall man. He's about 6'6" and retired football player. And very handsome man. I didn't know he was a retired football player. He told me this later. So we're sitting down in the jacuzzi, and as he gets in the jacuzzi after I was already in there, and my back is turned again because I don't want to talk. When I'm in the jacuzzi, I just want my time. It's my time to be quiet and to be left alone. But I felt him looking at me. I felt these eyes on me. So I kind of turned and he said, "Hey." I said, "Hey." And then that was it. It was just, he had a friendly smile and I gave him a friendly smile and we started talking and it was great. It was a great conversation. Not once did this man um, talk about my body, compliment my body, talk about my face, ask my age, ask if I had children, none of those things. Hows and ever. I knew he was interested, but he had a very respectful vibe. But there were subtle ways in which he was kind of letting me know he was interested. Like when we were talking, his eyes met mine for like longer than normal. and he would respectfully look at me and then kind of look away. Now keep in mind, we're all just kind of hanging out here in the jacuzzi. Everybody's pretty much mostly naked, except for the swimsuits. And, we were talking, and I didn't want to talk him to death, but I was really interested in talking to him. He had a very friendly, just like a inclusive sort of, I don't know, vibration around him. You could tell that he liked people. You could tell that he liked women, and not just for sex, that he actually enjoyed the company of women. That's the vibe I got from him. And when I spoke, he listened to what I had to say. Like, I spent a good 45 minutes longer in that jacuzzi than I should have spent. I'm like, really. And I was like, wow, this is great. This is great. Great conversation. So I looked up at the clock and I said, oh, I have to go. And I said, I enjoyed talking to you though. So I got up. He said, wait a minute. He said, I don't even know your name. I gave him my name. He gave me his name. And then he waited for me, I guess, to recognize him. And I don't, because, I don't follow football like that anymore. I used to follow football, but not for years. I've been too busy doing other things. And he said, oh, you don't know who I am? I said, nope. He said, I used to play football. And he named the team. I'm like, I said, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy playing football? And he started laughing. So apparently he's famous. He's a famous football player. I don't know you though. Like I don't even know many people on television because I don't watch TV like that. I watch a couple of shows on Netflix and I'm good. Uh, I'm sure I've sat next to many celebrities in Atlanta and not recognized them because I just don't follow popular culture like that. So anyway, that seemed to interest him, and he said, "Let's exchange information." And I said, "Well, I'm in a really serious relationship, so I can't do that." He said, "Oh no, you're just friendship and business." So okay, hmm. So long story short, um, the difference in the approach that he used from the previous man in the jacuzzi, from my neighbor, and who's also a very handsome man, and from, of course, the weird dude in college, and numerous other examples of just inappropriate stuff, kind of showed me that there's definitely a right and a wrong way to approach a woman, and you don't have to be very aggressive. I don't know if that's a thing now. Like, are there people out there somewhere teaching and writing books and telling people to be hard and aggressive towards women? I don't know. What I will say is, had I not been in a relationship with my sweetheart that I care about, then I would definitely be interested in this football player, ex football player, most definitely. Anyway, I looked his name up and I was like, wow. And then I went and told my dad, said, do you know this person? He said, yeah. I said, well, I saw him at the gym. He said, what? And then I told a couple of my male friends. They were like, what? So apparently this man is famous. So now I'm laughing at myself even harder because I didn't even know who he was. And I had the nerve to ask him, did you enjoy playing football? Anyway, so silly. Now I'm just rambling and I'm tired and I'm hungry because I had 2 hours of working out. I worked out all day at work and I need to eat something. That's just my little thing. I just wanted to put that out there and add it to the YouTube sphere that there's definitely a right and the wrong way to approach people. And behaving like a stalker, coming on too strong, asking personal questions about age and children. And like if you can't tell from how I look how old I am, then don't ask. Let that naturally evolve in the conversation. If you don't see children hanging off my hips, don't ask. Let that naturally evolve in the conversation. Don't just sit there and look at me like a pork chop and then start reciting this list in your head of things you have to ask before you decide if I'm worthy of your conversation. That's insulting, not just to me as a prospective dating, as a dating prospect. It's insulting me as a person. Like, that's just mean. There's a lot of meanness out here. And I'm older now, and I don't have tolerance for it. I don't have tolerance for letting people just treat me any kind of way because of their own agendas. And I'm not afraid to put people in their place and to say, hey, that's not appropriate. Hey, I'm not gonna tell you that, or I don't want that, and I don't like you. All right. So anyway, I told my sweetheart, hey, guess who I met at the jacuzzi? And his head swiveled all the way around. He's a huge football fan. He's like, what? I said, yeah. Yeah, can you believe it? And then he got real quiet. Like, well, how did you all meet? Well, what's going on? I say, nothing's wrong. What's going on? Nothing at all. Just wanted to let you know who I met at the pool. So anyway, that was this is a whole other video. We'll talk about that in another video. But anyway, interesting things are happening. And what I will say is, for those men who have a hard time approaching women, I want to throw my 2 cents in the ring. The way my sweetheart got me was just kindness. I mean, really, just kindness. I mean, because if a woman is interested in you, there's something about you that's going to catch your attention. It might be your smile, your eyes, how you're dressed. It could be your pair of shoes. Something about you is going to want to make her uh, talk to you longer than a few seconds. And then it's up to you to capitalize on getting her attention. And I'm just going by what works for me. So when the man I'm currently with, hopefully the rest of my life, the one I'm currently with came up to me, I'm going to be honest with you, I wasn't even really interested in him like that. I really wasn't. He just seemed kind of goofy, and his clothes were kind of disheveled, and his face was sweating. I was like, what is going on with this dude? What is this? But his his manner was just, there was a warmth there. There was a warmth, and it caught my attention, and it drew me in, right? It drew me in. Anyway, I'll talk about that later. This video is already too long. I meant for it to be 15 minutes. I talked too long. I hope this helps. Bye.